album. You know, it was great. You know, when Frontier sent me the promos, and you know, I got to listen to it. You know, I was excited. You know, I saw a new Night Range. I said, all right. And you guys,
Very cool.
with this new album, you got you know, you have the vintage style. You know, the vintage you know, signature songs like the first single was Somehow Some Way, Comfort Me, and the one I really like is Jamie.
Yeah, cool.
Really good stuff on this one. And what I noticed on this one is you guys, you know, it's a diverse album. You know, with songs like, you know, We Can Work It Out. You know, it's stuff that'll appeal for, you know, to a wide range of audiences.
That's what we were hoping, and that's what we've always tried to do that. You know, we don't always accomplish that because, you know, once we get in there and we start writing and putting an album together, you know, we kind of what it dictates. You know, that you know, let's just kind of follow that whole vibe and stick with it. You know, and get it done. But
right.
You know, on this record, it was nice that we had a little more time, you know, to kind of go. Let's throw a couple of different things in there, like, you know, like Truth. You know,
right.
Yeah, I mean, Comfort Me definitely is a great song.
Right.
But there's some other things in there, you know, like that. You know, Don't Let Up. You know, we did a different version of it too, so it's kind of interesting that we got a chance to kind of like experiment a little bit,
right,
with grooves. You know.
Right. And you guys, I mean, with the band being so diverse, you know, I can imagine, you know, being able to go into the studio, and you guys have to be comfortable with each other.
Absolutely. You know, I mean, that's the thing is that, you know, we try and push each other a little bit that way, and you know, a lot of times, you know, just by making mistakes or something like that when we're jamming or something like that,
right.
You know, we fall into something that's cool, you know. And so we allow that to happen. We try not to stifle that at all, you know.
Right, you give each other the freedom, and you know, that really comes across in the, you know, the way the songs are written, and I've always enjoyed the style, you know, that you guys write in, and the you know, the songs are all well structured, and you guys, what's cool about it is you guys always have that feel good energy about it. You know, the choruses are memorable. And you know, when you write a song, what do you look for when you write? Is there a hook? I mean, is there a melody? You know, how do you guys, you know, start out when you start writing?
A lot of times it is you start out with a title. You know, you come up with a title, and then that'll kind of dictate where you're going to go musically sometimes, or, you know, and then other times, in fact, the last 3 records when we get in there, just the 3 of us will start out writing sessions just with Brad and Jack and myself. And we'll just get in the room and we'll just randomly start playing something musical, you know,
That's
whatever
cool.
it might be. You know, like something that we might have been jamming at home with ourselves or whatever, and then we'll just bring it in, and you know, and let the other musicians expand on it. You know, so a lot of times that's how it happens. You know, you'll come in, you know, and you'll have this one idea, and then it's like, okay, well, what do you think? You know, and then Brad will say, well, I think it should go here, and you know what I'm saying, or Jack will say,
right.
Yeah, I could sing this over the top of it. So that's how we do it. We look at it like, you know, as sections or parts like that, and try and make them fit.
Right, that's really cool to hear about that. I was always, you know, when I hear a song, and you know, and then I listen to it differently now because you know how the artist wrote it, and you know the background of it. It's a different perspective, and I think that's really cool to to look at it that way.
You know, that song "Day and Night" was one of the first songs. It was "Day and Night," Jamie, "Running Out of Time." Those were the first three songs that we wrote, and a lot of those things just came out of just random ideas that somebody said, would grab onto it and go, I like that chord change, but what if you did this and you put a D here or whatever, or if you played, and then we just start to run with it. We just let that just kind of like move forward,
right?
And we just keep expanding and keep adding, you know.
Yeah, I mean, and that, like I said, that comes back to you guys being together for so long. You feed off of each other.
Exactly.
And that really comes across in the music. It really does.
Well, that's good. That's what we wanted, you know.
And I consider you and Jack are both great vocalists, and I know that that comes across in all the the music and everything, and I always thought it was pretty cool, when you see a drummer doing the lead vocals. There's not too many guys that do it. When you guys do a song, how do you decide, if it's a Jack Blade song, a Keagy song? How do you guys decide that, or does it just kind of flow naturally?
Yeah, we let the song dictate, and while we're writing it, a lot of times, we'll split up parts, like when we're writing it, all of us are like inputting vocal, ideas, and sometimes it'll be like, well, what if you sang the verse and then I'll sing this, and like that, or I'll sing the bridge, and then we'll come together in the chorus, so it just basically is song by song. And a lot of times, like if you'll notice, like the last 3 or 4 records, depending on what it is, like maybe Jack is singing more, or maybe I'm singing more,
right.
In the collection. So we kind of let that flow. We try not to stifle that, because I think it's important for the song to kind of dictate what needs to happen, So that's how we do it.
Yeah, that's always interesting to hear it, because it's there's so many good songs, on all the CDs. It's not like when you guys put out a CD, it's not like there's any filler, it's always, a good CD. You could just put it in, or album, or vinyl, or whatever you listen to, and just listen the whole way through, and it's just enjoyable from the start to finish. And that's one thing that I really love about you guys. And there's bands that do it well, but you guys do it exceptionally well.
That's great to hear, because that's what we try to strive to, is like, when you listen to a collection of songs, and I still go back to some of my favorite records, and, maybe one song might have been exploited more on the radio or whatever, so maybe you'll pass on that. But in the beginning, when you first started listening to the record, when you got used to it, you listened to everything, and it all made sense. They all tied together, and they all, like fit. And that's what we try to do, is we look at it like, you want it to be a listening experience that'll happen for an hour or whatever, and you just want it to flow, and that's what we try to do. We try to put it together like that,
And that's cool to hear. You guys definitely, like I said, you do it well. You definitely do it well. Now
thank you.
You guys, Night Ranger, to me has always been a high energy band. You guys put on a high energy show. What do you do to prepare for a show? And nowadays, I know, are the audiences any different, compared to the mid '80s? And is there a different way that you guys go out there and, set up your show to, to please that crowd, or figure you're going to get more energy somewhere?
Well, we always try and give 100%. I mean, I think all bands do that too, but with us, we understand, that we've been playing together for a long time, and we tap into that energy that we had on the first couple of tours, where it was like, you go out there as a young band, and you never know, like, especially if you're opening for a big band. And like back in the day, we opened for so many acts, and we always wanted to, like, for one thing, we wanted to get over on the get over to the audience that had never heard us before.
Right.
And at the same time, you're playing for like the audience that whoever's the headliner. So you have to really kind of adapt that way and aim to please. And we've always looked at it like, okay, man, how can we get over on this audience? Like a Kiss audience.
Right.
When we were first out there, Kiss is like a hardcore audience, And I remember Big John, the tour manager from Kiss, like pulling us aside and go, okay, guys, whatever you do, don't stop moving, because they're going to be throwing shit at you.
Yeah.
You got to make sure you got to be a moving target. And so we were like, oh my God, like, are you kidding me? So I mean, it was like that's what we were up against,
Exactly.
And so we look at it as like a challenge, like, okay, we have to get over on these guys, and we did. It was like, we got hit with shit or whatever, or we got people. Hardcore Kiss fans like going, what are you doing up there, but then after our songs started getting played on the radio, it was like, then the shit stopped flying,
Right, exactly. Boy, I bet you wanted to hear that too, being a drummer too. You got to be maneuverable on stage, be able to
yeah,
get dodge stuff.
Guys, bring that plastic shield over here, would you?
Well, that's part of coming up, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, you guys, I know you're doing a tour to support the new album, and we're really looking forward to seeing you in Pittsburgh. I know you guys got a show here coming in April.
Yeah, nice.
So we're looking forward to that, definitely. And you guys, coming up, since the beginning, you have so many great songs that the audience wants to hear. How do you go about adding, new songs to the list? Because there's a ton of good ones on the new album as well.
It's really tough, I think the only places in the world that we actually get to play more than 2 songs, in the
Right.
Of new material is Japan and in Europe, because we don't hit those places enough. And so when we put a record out, we'll go over there and tour.
Right.
The audience wants to hear 3-4 songs off of it,
Right.
So that's great, but here we're kind of it's a little bit tougher because the audience is expecting to hear all that material that we got, that was put out on the first 4 or 5 records.
Right.
We have to kind of like, and it's always limited, limited to time, depending on the venues, of course. But a lot of times, we've been doing more and more casinos, and that's like 75 minutes, and that's hardly long enough to actually do anything new. We always throw one new song in there, but it's tough,
Yeah, I can imagine. And with you guys, with the set list could just be, hundreds of songs.
Try to do a couple new songs in there always, and and then there's all the stuff that was never filler. We had so many songs that got played on the radio that maybe weren't hits, but they were rock tracks that got played.
Right.
So we ended up adding those into our set that were always favorites.
Right. And I know, I'm sure you get asked, a million times about, Sister Christian, which is, it's an amazing song and legendary. And but is there a song that you really enjoy playing live, or even playing at all that doesn't get played live that often, or even get played, at all, that you really like to do?
Well, there are some tracks from the first, second, third records that I would like to sneak in this year to pay homage to our history. Somebody was just asking me the other day, like, would you ever consider doing the first and second records like in succession like that? And I thought, of course, man.
Right.
That would be awesome to do that. So and I figure like the first 3 or 4 records, there's songs on each one of those records that I would love to do 2 off of each that nobody's heard us play, just a surprise, And so, there are some thoughts about doing that, about trying to pull out, lately we've been we threw out Penny, Penny, I Got Your Number, and then,
oh, yeah.
And when I Hear You Call My Name off the first record, we love doing that.
Right.
Every once in a while we'll pull that out, So there are songs, Why Does Love Have to Change, from the second record. There's all these songs that we keep like at sound check. We'll like hint at them. We'll start them and we'll only play half of it.
Right.
And then because we got other business to do.
Right.
Passion Play. Is another song.
Great song. Yeah, great song. Yeah, and those the first couple albums, really are, like iconic records. Just, with all the hits and everything, and some of the stuff you just mentioned as well too is like Passion Play, and and hearing stuff like that, that goes back to, in the beginning we were talking about there's really no filler. It's just an album, and you could tell you guys, professionalism and you guys really put it together well.
We still enjoy writing songs. Like every 2 or 3 years we have to do it. It's like, we have this, we're driven to have new music,
Right.
And it's not anything to do with sales anymore. It's just all about the passion for the music and how we like being creative, and coming up with new stuff,
Right. Now I had one of the guys that writes for us has a question. He wanted me to ask about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and we both agree that Night Ranger should definitely deserves a place there. And what are your feelings about
That's
that?
awesome. That's awesome. I love that. Well, I mean, I think it really has to do with. It's pretty political now. It's like it has to do with like record sales. I think a lot now.
Right.
I never thought it would, because there's plenty of bands that I grew up with that, a lot of people wouldn't even know that were terrific bands, amazing, and I think that some of the unsung heroes of the 60s and 70s, need to be paid attention to. I mean, I think it would be really great if that happened, if they had a section in the Hall of Fame that paid attention to some of those bands that influenced the musicians.
Right. Right.
But that maybe necessarily didn't have a huge hit.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry, we have time for one more question.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, you got it. Okay, last one here, Kelly, real quick. I was thinking about this today. When it's all said and done, say you're ready to call it quits at the end. What do you want the legacy of Night Ranger to be, and what do you want the fans to remember from you guys?
Well, I think that what Night Ranger's always done is always like, we always have songs out there that people can relate to, and that maybe people would think, we always try to put personal stuff in there. So a lot of times, we're hoping that the audience gets that too. So
right.
I just think that there's not any heavy message a lot of times with us. We're just all about trying to make people forget about their problems maybe. And when they come to a show or they listen to our albums,
right,
it'll make them feel really good and bring them up to maybe a higher level and make them feel like, that it's good to be alive. I think that's what it's about.
You nailed it. And you've done it exceptionally well. I mean, you guys, since the early '80s and everything, and everything you've done, it's really an honor to speak with you and to be able to appreciate the music that you guys deliver, and it's exceptional. It's great to be a fan of you guys. It really is.
Thanks a lot. I guess we'll see you in Pennsylvania, man, later on.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks for your time, Kelly. I really appreciate it. Good luck on the tour, man, and with the new album. I hope it does great for you guys.
Thanks a lot. We'll see you out there.
All right, thanks, man.